camera speeds. How much time do I have left on this card? Was it 53 minutes? All right. YouTube friends, what is going on? David Lee back with a brand new video. Today we are talking about how to shoot industrial videos. Let's go over what an industrial video is in the first place. Many times throughout your career, you are going to be asked to shoot something in the industrial genre or market. And an industrial video is simply a industry-specific film, ad, commercial project where it could be healthcare, it could be medical, it could be HVAC systems, it could be architecture, it could be public public plumbing and water, right? Anything that's very like industry specific, where there are like materials involved in order to support and service a customer. Now, industrial videos are a little bit different than your standard like product ad or commercial that's highlighting a product or a service or a business. Typically, when you're doing industrial type videos, you are involved with like large landscapes. You're involved with a lot of concrete, steel materials, things that can aren't necessarily like the easiest things to shoot, because 9 out of 10 times you're stuck with the location that they're given, right? You could think of like a hospital. You can't really change much about a hospital. You could think of like a warehouse. Not much can change about a warehouse, and you need a lot of G&E, right, grip and electric, in order to make things a little bit more polished, more nuanced, right? So the challenge in creating a industrial video is, how do you make something that's typically very boring to look at, right, with your real eyes, into something a little bit more appealing and more pleasing, but also not going so far off the board where it looks just completely unrealistic. So to break down how to shoot an industrial video, I'm going to offer 5 different key areas or key principles that you should follow when you are asked to create an industrial video. The first one is going to be your location scout and your tech scout. Now, whether you're doing a physical or a virtual location scout using Google Earth and Google Maps, I would highly advise you to do both, physical and virtual. But the location scout is going to provide you with challenges, right? What challenges, what obstacles are going to be in your way from creating the film or the ad? It could be things like, service access. It could be things that perhaps are safety things, where you physically can't go in there without special training, right? You could think of like scuba diving or something like that. If you're doing an ad for repairing underwater pipelines and something of that nature, right? Location Scout is going to give you all the information of what can you do, what can't you do, and are you going to need specific access for certain entryways, or if you're at an airport, right, some things are like restricted access. So the Location Scout is going to give you not only the ability to understand how can you light the space, but also what are some of the challenges when it comes to actually accessing the physical space. Number 2 is something that I just mentioned, is special access or service access. There's going to be times where you are, perhaps you're working in public plumbing or the public water department. Maybe you're working with the local like utility company for electric and solar energy. There's going to be things that are not going to be accessible for you. So that usually takes could be a week, could be 2 weeks, could be a month, where you have to ask special permission. And, that isn't anything that's going to be, it's not anything that's your fault. It's simply just a hierarchy, right, of how these large organizations work. Is someone has to ask for approval, and that person has to ask for approval, and so on and so on. So if you're thinking that, we'll just show up and we'll get access, unless you know someone really, really close that can put in a good word for you, I wouldn't, just chance on you getting special access, right? So go into your project, go into your ad, your film, knowing that, hey, if there's going to be special access, who do I need to ask for this access so that way we can get the shots that we need? The third thing to know or to remember are safety guidelines and equipment. Are you working with hazardous material? Are you working in a high voltage area? Do you need to, is it a requirement to wear like steel-toed boots, to wear a safety helmet, safety goggles, right? All these things can affect how you are able to film, because if you're wearing safety goggles and if they're pretty hard to see through, you may not be able to see your onboard monitor. If it's a steel-toed boots, is that going to affect how you're able to operate your gimbal, or you go in handheld, right? These are some of the things that you absolutely need to ask the client. or the on-site people to understand what are some of the safety things that we need to know about, so that way the crew is safe, you're safe, and that everyone is having a good time, knowing that they don't have to worry about some weird safety thing. The fourth point is the equipment. Do you need a drone for a landscape? Do you need a gimbal in order to maneuver and see the space in a more subtle way, using slow motion, 60 frames or 48 frames? Are you going to need a dolly, a Dana dolly, a doorway dolly, a slider even, right? Are you going to go handheld, easy rig, right? Is it very run and gun where you're not going to be able to use much lighting and everything has to be in a very time constrained manner, right? You have a very short window to shoot specific people, specific things that are happening, right? Where you can't stage something's just happening on the fly, and maybe an easy rig and handheld is the easiest way to go, rather than having to lug around a gimbal, right? But again, knowing what kind of shots that you need, which we'll talk about next, knowing what kind of shots you need will provide you with the information as far as what camera support do I need. Is my first AC knowledgeable in this setup that we're going to do, right? So things to consider. And the last point I want to talk about is your shot list, right? Your shot list is going to be detrimental, and is going to be the most critical thing when it comes to creating the narrative or the story behind your industrial video. So that is getting your basically your traditional coverage, right? Your wides, mediums, and your close-ups. Close-ups can also be like details or insert shots, right? It could be a close-up on a solar panel. Maybe it's a close-up on some kind of like specific equipment that's being used to show off the service or the business or the utility that you're showcasing. It's always great for your editors to have as much coverage as possible when it comes to these industrial type videos, because again, we're not shooting like a Nike commercial, we're not shooting a Lexus car commercial, right? You're shooting like power lines, or you're shooting again HVAC systems, or you're shooting just solar panels out in the middle of nowhere that don't rotate until it's like wherever the sun's going. You might have to wait like half a day for it to rotate. So having again your wides, your mediums, your close-ups for your editors to be able to craft a well documented and a well paced story will be the deciding factor when it comes to the overall quality of the film. Industrial videos at the end of the day aren't the most exciting things, but they pay pretty well. They're very consistent, and they're always necessary, right? Meaning that you're always going to be asked whether you like it or not. And again, you don't have to choose. You can choose to shoot or not shoot industrial videos. But again, they're fairly easy projects, at least the ones that I've been involved with, from SoCal Edison to water treatment departments, to linemen, to solar energy companies, and so on and so forth, right? I mean, they're honestly probably like the easiest shoots that I've ever had, because they're fairly low maintenance. You just need some basic stuff, basic crew. Again, you don't need like huge lighting setups. If you have the availability for it, great. If not, it's like, dude, just chill and just have a good time with it, because either way, the agency client is getting what they need, and you're getting what you need, right? It's not necessarily creative in the realm of like we're making a cool narrative shoot, or a narrative script. It's not a cool car commercial, or like an action scene, or even if we're doing like a cereal box commercial where we want to make it fun and vibrant, camera movement, stuff like that. It's not anything in that realm, but again, it's something where it can help you grow your business and help you grow your tool set. All right, that is it for me. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel as always, just so you are notified of new content coming out. And remember, friends, every day you have an opportunity to create your experience and to write and tell your own story. My name is David Lee, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.